for us. So anyway, let's go ahead and start the recorder.
We did.
Okay. So this is week 7, guys? I believe week 7. And we are in the spring break transition period when kids are trying to hand off to one another. Couple things. Remember that you can always click add members. And if somebody is an invited member and they haven't joined yet, they probably did not. It says they'll be able to access this board once they sign up with Trello and confirm their email address. So it's a 2-step process. They have to sign up with Trello, and then they have to go in their email. They have to click the little button that says I signed up. Now, if their email is wrong, and Natalie, you were talking about it before the meeting, if their email is wrong, just invite them with the corrected email address. So you can just re-invite them by clicking menu, add members, and add them on there. And it looks like there's some chats going on. Some of the boards are still not very super well organized. And yeah. Okay, so why don't we just each person give their updates? Why don't we start with Cynthia, because Cynthia's had some kids doing some reviews, haven't you, Cynthia? Sounding boards?
Sounding board was wonderful. I'm so glad that we did that because, my kids are just like starting their own apps, so they have their little teams within my classroom. And so they were doing something very similar to what they were looking at that the high school kids had done, so they could relate to it because they're pretty much at that same step. And it was really great for them to see what the older students had done because it really, I think, clarified in a lot of their minds kind of what it was supposed to look like. And so that was a great thing. And it was just good for them to be able to give their opinion and to talk to their because I put them in partners and had them do it as partners, to talk to their partner and then come up with 3 things that were good and what could be better, and that was just very productive discussion for them. So great experience.
Now the feedback is on the wiki page, is that correct?
I gave it to Lisa as in Google Docs, so wherever Lisa put it is where it is.
I put it on the Trello boards and on the wikis.
Okay, so we want to point out to our students, I'll point out to it Monday to take a look at that feedback. Because that's going to help them to sell their apps and to get there. And Cynthia, do you mind sharing with us the names or the ideas of some of the apps that your kids have going?
Yeah, my kids are doing, bullying was a big one. So we actually have 2 different bullying apps going on. We have pollution, which is a hot topic because we are right next to the Ford Rouge plant and the 2 steel mills that feed that. And so pollution has been a huge topic in our community because there's been some discussion about allowing higher pollution standards and this and that. So that's been a very interesting one for them. There is one about the war in Yemen because for a lot of my kids that's affecting their relatives, and we do have new students coming in. We had 6 new students come in last week from the war zone. So, no English, had seen horrible things, just, traumatized little children. So this, these are things that they relate to very much. So I'm looking forward to what they're doing with it. I think they have a very unique perspective on some of these issues.
One suggestion / idea, Cynthia. Mm-hmm. So there's a book called The Blue Ocean Strategy that I like to talk to my kids about when they're creating apps. Because a lot of times kids will try to create apps like an adult would create. And Blue Ocean Strategy says create a market that nobody can beat you at. That you are uniquely, so you create your own market that you are the only one that could do it, right?
Sure.
And one thing to consider, if it can be done in an appropriate way, there might be a way to record their stories, maybe not with their faces, but just with an avatar. But, Voices of War or Children of War or something where they could capture and express and try to explain their story in a way that's private and protected. That's the kind of thing that can change the world because people always want to hear from children. I just don't know if there's been a sensitive, appropriate way invented yet. But these kids, if they could create something that's uniquely theirs. Does that make sense? So if they're just taking stuff off the web that's just, putting it together.
That's, honestly, they see it kind of more that way to begin with because for them it's very personal. They're talking family stories and, my aunt's doing this, and, now they have these new friends that have experienced this. And, it's for them, it's very personal, because basically that, there's still internet in Yemen. They FaceTime with people that are in the middle of a war zone fairly frequently. So, they do, they don't, and there's not news coverage of the war here a lot. So honestly, I think that's kind of the way they framed it from the beginning, as a very personal experience. Now, I do need to figure out, like I am trying to figure out how to capture their stories the best. And you're right, I've got to figure out the best app that can get that out there. But
well, there's things, you could always do a Voki or something, but it's almost like, I don't know if they realized that they could be the news, that they could break the news, that they could be, I would think the first thing would be to cover their identity so nobody would know who they were,
sure.
To change their name, but you could even take their voice, record it in Audacity, and change their voice with certain settings. So,
sure.
you
and we use Audacity, so when they know. We use Audacity regularly, so that's when they know.
So you could have, news from Yemen, or be the news, or, and them be their own news source. And it could even expand to other wars, but, child of war,
sure,
or some kind of, but anyway, that's just my encouragement, really for everybody, is when kids are creating this stuff, one thing I'm seeing on all the apps is they're approaching, some of the high school kids are really approaching it from an adult perspective. And if they could make these apps from a uniquely child's perspective, or teenager perspective, they're creating their own market. Oh, Lisa has her dinner. They're creating their own market that's different. And Kat, you can speak to that, because I'm sure you're familiar with this in terms of what Chryserance does. Do you want to speak to that?
Sure. Take myself off mute. Yeah, it's funny to see just some of the apps we'll look at, as we're looking in general. They appear to be created by much older than they actually are. So, you're definitely right. They try to make apps in reference to what they're used to seeing. And, I think that sometimes we have to remind them that it's okay to stay on their level and not try to make it anything more than it needs to be.
Well, there's a refreshing piece to just being who you are,
right?
And Cynthia, those kids have something that nobody else has. And, when you have a hardship, kind of like some of my kids, I have one on the addiction team who's lived with an uncle who's been addicted, and it's just a horrible situation. And he was like, Miss Vicki, if somehow we can use this situation for good and I can help others, then maybe it's not so wasted. Yes. And you would never tell these kids that, because what they've been through is horrific and you can't marginalize it. But it's sometimes having a vent or an outlet, it gives them something to do. And if they want any help, just let us know what we can do to help you, Cynthia. I know there were some kids who felt very strongly about the war group, and they're had to kind of get disbanded. But there may be a time when we say, okay, what can we do to help either promote this or whatever? Because I think you've got a fantastic idea and group, a unique opportunity there that can make a difference in the world.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. And yes, we probably will. For sure, once we kind of get some ideas and some things percolating, I'd love to have some other eyeballs on them besides my own. So that might be something that
we'd love to be sounding board for you guys.
Yes.
And at least said, voice thread, there's all kinds of opportunities to whether they take a picture and, this is what the news said and this is what we say happened or whatever, it's their own perspective.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you, Cynthia, for all the reviews. And I hope everybody listening will make sure that the kids take a look. So guys, our big challenge right now, and Natalie's speaking to it, is just making sure, I'm out this week, and then we've got, I think Junior's out for 2 weeks starting next week. Natalie, you already had your spring break, or is it next week, Natalie?
No, we completed our spring break last week, and it included the Easter weekend. And I stayed up with the boards until Thursday evening. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I took a break. I literally stepped away, and I did a lot of the paperwork backtracking and watched your lessons that you shared. Thank you for doing that. That was so beneficial to see the tutorial that you did for lesson 3-4. I really
Oh, good.
love that. And then it was a case of, prepping my students and making sure that they're aware of logins. But I'm working on meeting with my principal to share more about our program and where the students, where they're at, what they've been doing, and really the pace that we've been moving for all of the work they've kind of, and not that they've generated tons. I feel like the high school has been brilliant at putting all of the information, so much of the information when it comes to citing, and my students are learning along the way, like being intrigued by seeing and clicking and seeing the links and going, oh, that's wonderful. And then there's others, they'll click and they go, that was okay. So it is interesting how they're reading things and reflectively making a response and then trying to figure out how they can contribute. And some of my students today said, okay, we know that we have to do promotion. How, because one of the teams said something about filming, and they said, how do we do that and share? Do we share on the Trello with them what we want to share? And one of them said everyone would participate editing. And I thought, well, that's nice. And I asked in a question to that student, how would everyone edit? Like how would that be? How would that look? Or what would it look like? Because as a teacher, I don't know how, and I didn't really get a complete response. So I just wanted to know a little bit more about that.
So, I've really been trying, some of mine where we're getting really eager to film. And I do have a few on the You Matter team because that's so large. And I've asked them to write a script. So before we allow anybody to film, we should have a script with a storyboard and let them agree. Okay. I do have some that have already shot some film and uploaded it to Trello because you can't upload an attachment.
Yes.
But, we need to really push them on the apps. Like, they need to get their logos decided, their color decided. Some don't have their title yet. And then their boards need to be decided clearly. And, like, I'm looking at the domestic violence board, and it's just like, they have assigned jobs, but I can't really tell. I sort of see on deck, I sort of see done. I cannot understand this board. I just don't see any kind of workflow. So, my question for my kids has been, what is your workflow? When people log in, what do they like? I like the Choose to Matter group is looking pretty good. Ideas for work that needs to be done, current work, work in progress, work done, information. And, information is just informational stuff. I kind of like how the Choose to Matter board has been organized. But there's some other boards that are organized pretty well. So, the big thing is are they communicating to each other? Are they getting some forward progress? Are they all getting into the Mad About Mattering? So, Natalie, were they able to get into the school that Kat set up? They couldn't get in there yet?
My students have not gone in. We're trying to get on Trello because I felt like that was the lead in for all of them to have had that experience, to see it. And then
they're just not on Trello. They just can't get in.
No. And the two that I had today that I was working on, I was trying to get them in, and then I realized because I didn't have admin, there was no way of getting them to join in as a member.
Are you Google Apps for Education?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the trick. When you hit Trello and it says join, down below it says sign in with Google. Click sign in with Google.
Google.
Yeah, click sign in with Google and it'll take them right in and it'll authenticate their Google account and it should let them join the board. That's probably the issue.
Okay, thank you for that tip.
Yeah.
And I think they're excited that they're back, and now it's just a case of trying to weave in the flow of the lessons as well as moving forward on my visual arts lessons. Because we're not a computer class, it is a little bit of a trick to make sure that we're using the MadLearn platform as an enrichment on Thinking Thursdays. Now, I have embedded it at the tail end or the beginnings of my classes, trying to do a lead in with those groups of students. And every one of the 4 sections of 8th grade, I have students in each one of them. So it is a little bit of a dodge and weave kind of thing to get them all with their information, but I've been emailing them. I've been supporting them through Google Docs to making sure that they had the information they needed. But again, just getting them on the Trello, I was trying to push that before we took them together. And I'm also trying to be respectful too, because I wanted my administrator to talk to Kat and Elizabeth. And that's one of the follow-ups I was trying to get taken care of before we went into that. So I don't know where that's at.
I'll let you talk to Kat here at the end, but 2 things.
Yes.
If you could get them done this week before because when my kids come back, we're going to be working hard and fast and furious.
They know what you have.
If you, I'm trying to remember who else is in this week. I mean, you want to have forward progress, but if you got stuck, it'd be better to have more of your other lessons of your other curriculum this week so you could dedicate more time next week. But if by Monday we can have them in the Trello and make sure that they can get into the Chris Sarant's app platform and that they've logged in and changed their password, so we can be aware of anybody who has problems and have it ready so that we are ready to just crank it out Monday. Then we can have kids on at the same time on Monday. And then if we can reach out to Dawn and check with her. Is it Dawn that has spring break next week, Lisa? Because Dawn's been working like crazy this week.
Yes, she has.
Yeah, so we do want her to have some experience and get them going. But the big thing is if we can just have some logos and some colors and some app names. But here's the other thing. You don't want it to fall apart when one school's not there, because they need to understand that the real world is you just pass it off, you pass it off, you pass it off, and it keeps going. So, and I know I've seen her on the Trello boards, so I know she's there. I have not been as much there, and that's just where I've not been. But anyway, so those would be my 2 encouragements, as well as just the intro, lesson 3, lesson 4. And you have my lesson plans. Those lesson plans for me run through next Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
So
I noted your.
Yeah. Okay. So I hope that helps some. And then Dawn and Junior and Susan, those of you listening to this, just email us your questions or issues. And I'm just trusting all the teachers who are in. I mean, we teacher source it. So I'm trusting you guys to keep it forward going. And any issues, Lisa and I were chatting all day today. So ping Lisa, because she's more accessible than me, and she will reach out to me if there's anything that I need to do for you, because she's amazing. And she's eating dinner watching us. Okay. Kat, what do you have going on for us?
I am just at this point here for you guys as you need me. I know Natalie said you haven't been able to get to log in yet, but has anyone else, well, and Vicki, you're the only other person here, but have you guys had any issues on the platform or anything?
No, I got everybody in. I just had one student who accidentally logged in as another student. And the only thing is, when they come back next Monday, what am I going to do for those who forget their password? Will email it to them and let them create a new password?
It should, and if there's a problem, then you can also just give me their name and I can reset it for them.
Okay. Well, that's the only thing I'm worried about. So we got in.
Susan had a problem getting into the platform. She Skyped me today.
Yeah, she
said it was
emailed me today because she, for some reason, I don't know why, but her name was on that spreadsheet twice. So originally when I went in and was creating the logins, I took all of the teachers' names off of the main list and put them in their own spreadsheets, because the teachers' logins were kind of different than the students. So Susan got a teacher login and a student login. She was trying to log in with a student one, wasn't working. So I was just like, this is the correct one, and she had no problem. So
great, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Were you guys able to add collaborators and everything all right as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had all the students add collaborators, and I think we got through all the apps. And if there were any that we missed, guys, y'all just let us know so we can get whoever.
Susan did mention the stress one. She was wondering.
Stress Less doesn't have one. Who is that project manager? Okay, who is this group? Okay, this is Jay Patel. Jay Patel, I think.
you know what? Jay said he was holding out so that my group could log on. I know that they were voting on and doing colors and the logo. And
Yeah, but he should have already invited everybody. He didn't invite everybody?
I don't know.
Okay, so what I would say is this. You can access it when you log in. You can add collaborators. So I would say that if we figure out which team it is, let me go look at stress right now.
Okay.
Logging in here. And let's look at stress. I do like the new interface caps in last year.
Yeah, we made some updates.
Yes, you did. Ooh, oh no. I think that we have too many apps that have been made. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. How do we have 17 apps? I see you're not alone, but it has no collaborators, so that person is alone. And I see Drew Smith has made the gun guides, but Drew has been invited to the gun guide. So we have okay, so let me check. What was the first one you got? So Susan said which one was not created?
The stress one?
Yeah, it's called Education Help is the name of it.
Okay.
And
But
so that's the name of that group.
Okay.
And let me look at the collaborators here. I see Alexis, Aaron, Connor, Harvey, Trenton, Lori, Lucy, Mark, and Mason. So if there's anybody missing, she just needs to let us know. Or we as teachers can of course go in and add collaborators. I'm just concerned about these extra apps because we should not have that many apps
between the students and who is creating it. So if there are extra ones and we determine that they are extra, I can always have our product guys delete whatever we don't need.
Yeah, it looks like the gun guides has already been put on the Mad Store and Drew Smith created it. I don't know what student that is or who belong. Lisa, are you able to look and see who he belongs to? Because there's nothing there.
He belongs to me.
Oh, hey, Junior.
Hi, Junior.
Hola. I literally just walked into the conversation. I heard Drew.
Yeah, we've got 17 apps, and we were trying to figure out where these extra ones were. And the gun guides, the gun group has already been created. And I guess Drew didn't see it. I'm trying to see if he's added to that group. I'm looking now to see. Everybody know where I'm logged in and looking? Does everybody know, or would y'all like me to share my screen so you can see what I'm doing?
Yeah, turn your screen, please.
Sure thing.
So be very descriptive because I'm actually not on my computer. I'm actually driving.
Okay, so we're looking in the MadLearn platform and all of the app lists. So when you guys get in, you go to a dashboard like this, and what the kids need to do at this point is not get started on a new mobile app. They need to choose a mobile app to edit. And in their dashboard, they will see the ones that they have started on. We see the gun guides here, but the gun guide has already been created by Delaney. So I'm going to click on gun guide. And I'm going to click and look and see if Drew is a collaborator. And Drew Smith is a collaborator. So we should be able to delete the gun guide and get that one out of there. Kat, you can do that. And Junior, you can communicate with Drew and let him know that the app has already been started.
Okay.
Cool. And he hadn't done any work, it looks like, so I don't think he's going to lose anything. The other one we have this You're Not Alone with Kristen Hunter, and I don't see which group this is. You Are Not Alone. Is that the domestic violence group? Because they can rename it. Is that what it is? Kristen Hunter. Anybody recognize Kristen? Let's see which group. Oh, this is suicide prevention. So let's look and see if we have another suicide prevention group. We do. We have a suicide prevention, and then it looks like we have Kristen Hunter in suicide prevention who started an app, who's put the logo in there. So just writing this down. Lisa, are you on these boards right now? Lisa Durf?
No, I'm not.
Do you mind jumping on a Trello board and messaging Kristen that the thing has already been created? And we're going, and for her to log in and look at and edit the apps so that she can be on the app with everybody else.
In which?
She's on suicide.
Suicide, okay.
Yeah, she's on suicide. And then the iDrive, I'm looking at how many collaborators we have here, guys. So we got 9, 9, 12, 0, 0. We tackled those first. iDrive should be texting and driving. So I'm looking to see texting and driving is here with 12. And we have Stephanie who started iDrive. Let's see which one's further along. Who's Stephanie Chaviera, I believe it's her name. It doesn't look like we really have anything here. Yeah, it just looks like it's been created, maybe. Does anybody know who Stephanie is? Nobody? Okay. Natalie, do you mind jumping? Are you able to get on Trello, Natalie?
Yeah, I can go.
Do you mind getting on the Trello for that group and letting Stephanie know that there is already an app that's been created, and just to log in and click edit to join with the rest of the group? There's somebody else on this, and let's see. There's actually 3. It's Stephanie, Bailey, and Jack. So if you want to message, do you know how to message on the Trello board with the @ sign?
Yep.
Yeah, Stephanie, Bailey, Kirk, and Jack.
Bailey.
If you'll message them and let them know that the app has been created for them. And then that will leave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Do we have 14 teams, Lisa Durf? Is that right?
I thought we had 11.
Oh, dear goodness. What is our other? Okay, what other duplicates do we see, guys? I see we're deleting the extra gun guide. Cancer, I only see 1. We have 2 texting and drivings, but we're going to get rid of iDrive. You Are Not Alone is the suicide prevention, so that one's going away, and that's the correct one. Uncut. The gun guides, we're getting rid of that one. Domestic violence is a repetition of You Are Not Alone. I don't see any more bully proof. Poverty is the poverty group. Their logo is so cool. Sex trafficking. iDrive, we're getting rid of that one. Quit the Addict. Do we have 2 addictions? I don't think so. We got the other suicide prevention we're getting rid of. And special shoes. Okay, it's in special shoes is the mental illness and domestic,
The special matters or something like that.
disabilities. Yeah, that people with mental illness and special needs matter. No excuse for abuse is the domestic violence one. It's no excuse for abuse. No excuse for abuse is the pet one.
Yes.
Then we have You Matter, and education and help is the
Stress
so
in
I think
school.
we have 14.
Oh,
I think we might have 14, and we can double check, but I'm pretty sure that looks about right, and our team sizes look about right.
okay.
9 or higher, so I think that these are about right.
Hey, Vicki, I am not a part, or I do not have access to the board for texting and driving. So, messaging, Stephanie, or Bailey, Jack, I don't have them.
Okay, so let's texting and driving.
I'll add you. Right
Okay, you're
at
adding.
the moment.
Okay,
So
or I can add her.
Here.
You're gonna add her.
Got her. She is
Oh, you
added.
got her.
And
Okay, added and promoted. Oh, she's
Yep.
joined, and you've promoted her.
I have.
Okay, guys. So that's if we could get everybody in there, that would be great. And then my students will be back in next week. And if we can meet next Monday for those who are in town would be great and catch up. But basically, so what we're looking at is, let me stop the share here. So guys, what we're looking at is, I know Junior, you're out for 2 weeks, right, Junior? Do you want to give us an update on things?
Yeah, I'm going to be out for 2 weeks, but I'm going to be readily available. I'm not doing anything extremely special, so.
Well, you need to go offline some. So anyway, I know that we'll be moving quickly. So when they come back, we'll probably be in the midst of doing app trailers and, their acting skills and all that stuff we'll need. But we're going to have to work pretty hard and fast on getting these apps built out. It'll also be time for our copyright lesson here shortly. So basically, guys, big picture, and I know we need to wrap up here, is big picture is we're trying to get the kids to collaborate. When my kids come in Monday, I'm going to tell them that they need to turn in, their logos and their colors. Those all have to be picked. And I've had them do these lovely wall displays, and that is a wonderful thing to do. Now, Natalie, I'm going to be doing something I call Pitch the Principal, which is something I recommend for everybody. And what they have to do is they have to pitch their app idea with a 3-minute elevator pitch. Once they have their logo and they have their basic home app screen, so they'll be using their logo and their home app screen to pitch the principal, and the principals will be giving them feedback on their app concepts and ideas. So if you guys really like to have the kids in front of the principal, that's what's my lesson plan is coming after next Tuesday, is going to be preparing for Pitch the Principal and getting their home screen nailed down, and everybody having something they've created. Every student is required to have created 2 screens on the app, along with any copyright being handled and that sort of thing, and handle that appropriately. They can't copy from the web and all that sort of thing. So we do use Grammarly to check everything. So I do highly recommend using Grammarly for those who have that Chrome extension. It's free. That's a great tool to use to check the spelling and such. But Pitch the Principal really helps them get clarity and lets them take ownership. And what I like to do in Pitch the Principal, what I'm going to do this year, that's just different from last year because it was all just my students, is I'm going to have them pitch the principal, and I'm going to have them share the logo, the vision, the home screen, and each student on the team to share the 2 pages that they have made. Okay, so that kind of puts their feet to the fire, and they've got to say, okay, these are the pages I made, or this is what I contributed, or this is what I did. Okay, so does that kind of make sense of what's next? And that's a good way to give them presentation skills, and it's also a good way to bring your principal up to speed and to get them excited. And I will share with you guys some forms I have for that feedback process. I used them last year, so I'll put that on my list to give you the forms for Pitch the Principal, because we do want to kind of get them honing in their elevator pitch. You can have them pitch the teacher before they pitch the principal. And they could do, Lisa Durf had a great suggestion, they could do some Google Hangouts with each other as well. So anyway, you had to do an elevator pitch for dissertation, Dr. Carter's idea. Elevator pitches have just been around forever. We used them at classroom conferences. Lisa.
Yeah. Okay.
But tell them how you pitch so they can tell the kids.
Well, I had 5 minutes, and I had to give the main idea. Of course, if you know anything of dissertations, so like hundreds of pages long. So I had to narrow that down to 5 minutes, in which I told another person what I was doing and why I was doing it. What I hope to find. It was very challenging for everyone.
Well, the term elevator pitch comes from sales. The saying was, if you got stuck with the president of a company on the elevator and you could not tell him in 1 to 2 minutes your product and your idea and sell the president from when the elevator door closed to when the elevator opened on his floor, then you were not a good salesperson. So elevator pitch actually came from sales, and typically they can be 1 to 2 minute elevator pitches. I mean, 5 is kind of a long, I guess that's a PhD elevator pitch.
We had really slow elevators there.
Well, that's a good way to explain it to the kids. They love elevator pitches. Junior, did you want to add something?
Oh, no, I was laughing. I'm sorry.
Well, your kids have done elevator pitches because they had to do them with staples when you did those products last year, right, Junior?
Yes, they did.
So how long were
Yes,
your
they did.
elevator pitches when they had to do them?
I think it was at about 4 minutes. Because they had to go with a ton of diagrams going from the concept to actually what their product would look like, and so yeah, I think it was about 4 minutes. I'd have to double check with our language arts instructor, just because she kind of spearheaded a lot of that on that realm. So I wasn't exactly sure of all the details, but I know it was somewhere around that time period as well.
So we want to have them ready, and once I start feeling good about the apps, which I hope by the middle of next week, Kat, you can let Alethea know that's when we'll try to firm up the date for the awards in the Shark Tank, because we want the kids to be ready to win. I'd like them to be the first week of May, but I'm starting to have a feeling that it's going to be the second week of May, just because of the spring breaks. And we have to be careful because we'll be running into the last week of school. I have lost because they've moved exams to then. So I won't be able to. The last week of school, we get out somewhere around the 25th of May. So we get out a little early at my school. And so we'll have to get it probably the second week of May. I'd really, really like us to be able to get it. So anyway, okay. What other questions does anybody have? Because we're going to wrap up here. And who else has questions?
I had one question. Oh, sorry. I think Lisa.
It's all right. May 25th is your last day, Vicki. Go ahead.
Thank you, Lisa. Lisa does everything for me, huh? Go ahead, Junior.
All right. Well, okay. So my question was, in regards of viewing the kids' apps, what username and password should we be using? Because when I looked on the sheet, I noticed that I didn't have a password. I didn't have a username or a password there. However, Kat had previously created a username and password for me. So I just wanted to kind of make sure, because when I looked on there, I couldn't see all the apps for the other kids.
Yeah. So
On that big spreadsheet, there are, the different sheets for each of the teams. I also created a different sheet just for teachers. So your logins are on a different sheet than the student logins.
Okay, awesome. Must have overlooked that. Okay.
yeah. So log in with that, Junior, and you should be able to see all the apps that they're in. Now, one trick I highly suggest, guys, is to have the kids make a Trello card. Let me show you real quick, and then we'll let me share the screen. Let me show you what I highly recommend that you have kids do. So let's say that I was Delaney and I was going to turn this in. Okay, so I'm going to the gun guide, and let's say that Delaney did the splash screen. Let me just say it. Let's pretend it's done. Okay, so I would have her. I use Snagit for screenshots. Snagit. And I'm going to snag a copy here. Take a picture. I'm pretending like I did this page. Delaney, page 1. I'm pretending like I'm Delaney, downloading. Now I'm going into the Trello board, and she's in the gun group. So let's pretend like she did the splash screen. Okay? So she added splash screen as a task. She added her name. Let me see where she is. There she is. She added her name here. Okay. She can go ahead and she can move it to in progress if she wants to. Okay. But she's going to hit attachment. And I'm going to attach this from the computer. And this was in the junk drawer that I just downloaded. Open. And now, when I close this, do you see that I can see Delaney's name in the page? So when I come here and filter for Delaney's name, I can see what she's worked on in the page she made. Can everybody see that? And I know, Junior, you cannot, but you can look back at the recording and see it. And then when she's done, she says done, and I can filter and see that Delaney has done this screen. Okay? So that is how I have my students turn in the work and show the work to their partners, if that makes sense. They just take a screenshot, they go back into Trello, put the picture on the card, And whatever the latest picture is, usually you can hit remove cover. If they upload a different attachment, you can make a different one to cover. But that's kind of what, and I'm going to archive this so the kids don't get confused. But does that kind of make sense, everybody, with how that's going to look next week? I don't know if that helps you, Natalie, or not. And Cynthia,
well,
I don't know.
I'm hoping to. And then the one thing I wanted to understand a little bit better is archiving. You just did that, and some of the students are doing the archive.
Oh, no. The only reason I archived is nobody should see it. You really shouldn't archive. Never. Really don't.
Okay, well,
ever.
There's a couple of the kids that are clicking, and that's in the
No. It should go in the done, and the done should be way down. So if you tell the kids not that the teachers, if we're going to archive, if we want to clean it up, let the teachers do it. Okay. But if you look at my boards from last year, this is Drone Zone. I can still go in here and look at this. I can see all the work they did. All the work. Because what I want to be able to do at the end of the project is to say, okay, let's see, what did Johnson do? Or what did Cole do, right? I want to be able to see who did what.
Okay.
And that's what I like to see. And if they're archiving, actually, they'll get their partners ticked off because their partner's work will go away. And then nobody knows what's been done. So it just makes a mess, and you can get those back. You can go to menu, and then you can go back to more, and then you go to archived items, and you can send it back to the board. Okay, so you can say, hey, I want to send this back to the board, and you can see some things they archived that I think they ended up archiving because they didn't want to do them. But, they probably, I could just send a board and it just goes back. And they should have just gone to work finished. And it's just usually because some kids just don't know what they're doing. And I can see who archived it and when and who did it. So if the kids get upset about it, tell them not to get too upset. Just go to more, go to archived items, click the card, see who did it so they can say, hey guys, don't do this. And then just send it back to the board, and it's still there. They haven't lost it.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, does that help?
Yes, lots. Thanks.
Cool. The only reason I archived it is I didn't want to confuse the kids because we were messing with their board. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else have a question? That was a great, fantastic question, Natalie. Anything else? Okay, guys. Well, it was a good meeting, and thank y'all for putting up with me being so yucky. You didn't have to smell me, though, did you? Junior, you can't see me, but my face is still red. I just ran a mile. So it's nothing compared to what Cynthia Alvarado runs, or probably you run, but anyway, I'm a little out of shape. But
I'm pretty sure you look awesome.
Oh, that's why Junior's in the group. He just does stuff like this.
And he's right. You do look awesome.
Well, it's because I'm in great company. So anyway, okay, guys. So I'll see y'all next Monday night, and let's just try to keep it moving forward, and help them understand Agile software development, and just keep using those videos. And Kat, are y'all getting a copy of all the videos and lesson plans that I'm using? You got a copy of all that stuff, right?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Cool. Okay, guys. Well, we'll move on. Just email us. And again, if I'm kind of laying low, and if you really need me, then ping Lisa. And I have got to get this Teachers Pay Teacher stuff done. So anyway, thank you guys.